What's good, guys? Welcome back to SH. Weathering with you, the second of the trilogy. How we feeling, Andy?
Fairly pretty good, honestly. Again, hey everybody, in case you're wondering, yes, we are not double sharing our screen today. Today we're trying again to do a little bit different because as we are now posting a little bit more, I want to make the Friday videos a little bit more special so that way we can truly, put effort into our kind of our main video of the week. And as Omar said, we're here to talk about the Disaster Trilogy, the second installment, which is Weathering with You. And Omar this time is going to break down the 5 categories that we use.
That's right. We are going to talk about characters, music, plot, the ending, and then at the very end, we were going to talk about the impact of what this has. Like society, anime in general, like how anime spread, this, that, and the other. And then, of course, the bonus question at the end. Stick to the end.
Yes.
All right. So we should start with the characters. I will start. I think again we both took points off of your name when it came to characters.
Mhm.
These characters were done beautifully. This is a 5 out of 5 for me. The side characters were done extremely well. Like excluding the like we saw Taki, by the way. I wanted to say that.
Mhm.
I also like this wasn't a direct sequel to Say Your Name, but you got like Easter eggs almost of the previous movies. Like you saw Taki and you saw um
The female main
the
lead.
yeah the main you know, mainly I don't know I'm blanking on her name, but you saw them. But then you look at Hodoka, great male lead, Hina, great female lead, and then like you see like Suga, who was like the who like invited him to who took Hodoka in, and you get her like his assistant, Hina's little brother, great. Like all these side characters were extremely well done, at least in my opinion. The detective was also well done, and like it brought out like the greatness of the main characters, in my opinion.
I will agree with you. I will still give it though a 4 out of 5, but not knocking it because they did manage to do the thing that I wanted them to do, which is kind of like include a supporting character that still feels important and still has like its own little passage, but it's still I don't know, for me personally, like a 5 out of 5. It has to be a lot more about, like, in a sense, like world building, in the sense of I want every character to feel like they have their own life or their own scene and that they feel alive, even if they're not a part of
Okay.
like that main scene. Like obviously, you already know me and Omar, big fanboys of One Piece. I, for me to give characters 5 out of 5, it needs to feel something like that in One Piece. Obviously, in a movie, you're so limited to that 2 hour mark of like trying to make everything feel like, trying to like mesh everything together, make it work. But that's the only reason why I can't give it a 5 out of 5. Because for me, 5 out of 5 have to be like, I could not pick a favorite character between every single character that was introduced. And I've seen some movies. Hopefully, we'll get down the line and we'll talk about those type of movies where we are able to see side characters truly just like pick up the moment. Like if I, again, fanboying here, but if I can fall in love with Usopp all over again for Stampede because he has that moment where he's like defending Luffy, the main character, during a fight, like picking up fiery logs, tanking hits, and showing importance. It's like, okay, we know the Straw Hats are main characters, but I like those scenes where it shows that they're above what they're known for. That's something that I like to know.
Again, that to me that's completely fair. But like I will fight you again on the fact like this is a movie and not 1,000 episode anime, which One Piece had its like opportunity clearly to like draw out side characters. In a movie, I feel like this is good as it could get for a movie's sake that has like no like previous knowledge to these set of characters nor after. So I just feel like this was extremely well done.
Okay, all right, fair. So moving on from the as of right now, for me, I'm a 4 out of 5. And then what's on the next category?
The plot. Okay, now I will start with the plot. Your name was extremely difficult to like beat. Clearly, you
Mhm.
get like you think you get the grasp of it, and then you get the plot twist, and then you get a second plot twist that you don't even think about even more. Weathering with You, I feel like gave me the plot twist I wasn't ready for. Like the foreshadowing and Weathering with You was great in my opinion. So I guess we should start off with the point of saying Um, Portica is a runaway from his home village as he doesn't he felt too trapped and he wants to explore and he went to Tokyo, which by the way, Tokyo is scary. And so and you follow his story, he like is homeless, he goes broke, and Hina ends up who is serving at a McDonald's, gives him like a Big Mac, just like cheer him up, and he meets he gets a job and meets, oh my lord, I am struggling today. Suga. He meets Suga and he gives him a job as like almost like as a transcriber for his newspaper, and that's where you get left off. I'm gonna let you continue from there.
So basically the main point of this though is obviously that, like Omar said, this isn't a direct sequel, but it's a sequel nonetheless because it's still in the same world and things kind of like affect the world. So I'll be real with you, everybody here. I haven't seen this movie in forever. I am doing my best to remember, but all I remember is that at some point.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, yeah. If you could keep going.
Okay, just stop me if it ever clicks. So we move on from there, and it's raining. It is pouring in Tokyo, nonstop. And then you see a glimpse of Hina at a hospital with who ends up being her mother, and like you see like rain droplets turn into almost looking like little fish that ends up evaporating to the air, and at that moment she becomes what is called a sunshine. By the way, spoiler warnings moving forward because it all happens near the beginning of the movie. So a sunshine girl is almost like she's able to stop the rain for a period of time. And we move on from there. They meet, and they become close. Like she starts to look out for him, for Todaka, and he ends up falling in love with her. But she's holding on to a secret, and Todaka does not know about what the secret is until him and Suga's assistant or niece are working together to like come up with a story with the Sunshine Girl, because Hina as a Sunshine Girl is now doing this as a profession, and they are now making money off of it, so she can also support herself and her little brother through life, who have lost both their parents. So as we move forward, like speed through, they perform a bunch of acts, and then it is revealed that she's about to turn 18, and the rain keeps getting worse and worse and worse, because the more Hina like performs these magical acts of stopping the rain, you don't mess with weather, and the weather like strikes back even worse. Like you get snow at some point in August, I believe it was August, and it's snowing in the middle of the summer, and it becomes a problem. So and then they hit a point where, so I guess like a scene that it is important that Todaka is caught like on camera shooting at someone trying to protect Hina, and that becomes a little bit important later, because that is how he is found to be a minor and a runaway. Hina is then also confirmed to be a runaway, or not a runaway but a minor. She is 15, and then you hit a point where they run away to a 5-star, like they run off to a hotel or whatever, and that's when the truth is revealed. She is going to die because she has been causing so many like magical stopping the weather from raining. And the moment she dies, the weather will go back to normal. Andy, is any of this quick?
So after reading this real quick synopsis, in case you guys are wondering what a Sunshine Girl is, basically just meant that she was able to control the weather. The power that she was using was that it would constantly rain in Japan, and she would make it stop raining for people that wish to have like events like weddings and stuff. But as Omar stated, because she's controlling the weather comes with a punishment. And that punishment, as Omar was saying, was that the weather would get harsher, the weather would start to get bizarre, to the point where she could no longer kind of control it. Which brings back to Omar saying, yes, eventually it starts raining so hard and they run away from said Child Protective Services to a hotel where they basically just kind of like sleep the night, and that's where Hina reveals that she is now turning into water. Like every time she uses the power, she loses basically like her flesh, and it starts becoming water. So, as Omar was stating as well, she says everything's gonna be back to normal if I'm sacrificed. So that's what I'm gonna have to do. And obviously the main character's like, oh, like don't do this, like please, like you know he's feeling guilty about this because he, as Omar stated, has fallen in love with her. But she tells him not to worry. They both fall asleep, and then that next morning he wakes up and she is completely gone. So then we have this whole, scene of him looking for her, and then the police that were like the child protective services eventually catch the male main character, and they're like, all right, well, time for you to like go back home because you are a minor, sir. They basically have him trapped. Do you remember what he does to like get out of that situation at all? Because I just don't remember that part.
Okay, yeah, Toroka just basically like jukes him and runs away. And it's like this is why I say like the side characters are so important, because Suga like says like you see his own like conflict because he's not allowed to see his child because she has asthma and it is raining so much. Mm-hmm. And he is like his wife also passed. So that becomes an issue. And Natsumi like is also important because she's trying to figure out her own life, but at the same time goes on a wild police chase to help Hodoka get back to the tower where Hina originally got her power.
Yeah, which is a big torii gate basically. So I think I kind of remember the end. Kind of remember the ending where it's like basically then he jumps into that same torii gate where he then is like. Right. No,
we're about to get to that.
Oh, okay. That's the ending. So okay, but I will wait. Sorry, real quick, because I didn't give a number yet, just so I can say it. I will say this plot though was interesting. Wasn't as great as Your Names, but it was still unique in its own sense. So I'd still give it like a 5 out of 5 personally. There.
Yes.
I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 because again the plot was really good. The pacing was great. But like to get that 5 out of 5, like it has to be like elite to a point where like Your Name is, and Weathering With You when it came to plot, it was a little bit less. But the ending, let's get to the ending, or I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. So as Andy was saying, he goes into the gate, and like he enters like an area of just water, and finds Hina like sleeping on top of a cloud. And I guess we could start getting into the music. The music in Weathering With You might arguably be better than the music in Your Name. The music in Weathering With You is perfect. Like you hear the music running, and Todaka hits you with one of the hardest lines I've like ever heard. Like like to say, "I'd rather have you than any damn blue sky. Let the weather be crazy." It's so sentimental of saying I don't like. All you is all that it matters to me. Like screw the weather. I'd rather it rain every day. I'd rather never see the sun again as long as I'm with you. And that's like in that hit with the music in the background. Like the ending was great. So then you see them. They get put under like they don't get because they committed crimes, but they don't necessarily get arrested. They get parole, not parole.
Basically they and to serve their time they get sent back to school. You have to graduate before you can go back to Tokyo.
Yeah, they're on probation.
That's the word. They were on probation. So he graduates and ends up going back to Tokyo, and you see her praying, and like Toyoka like sees her like, or first he goes back to Suga and like, you know, he's saying, yo, I want to see her again, and like, but like he's nervous. It's been 3 years, but he eventually sees her and sees her praying, and he says, hey, like we are in this together from here on out. It doesn't matter. Parts of Tokyo is now underwater completely because of this, and it's just saying like, its deeper meaning is like some sacrifices aren't worth it. Like just like keep what's really important to you and let everything else be there. And to me, the ending is 5 out of 5.
Like for you, it's 5 out of 5.
Yeah, the ending is elite.
All right, so I, sentimentally want to give it a 5 out of 5, but like, I'm kind of a hater, right? I would hate instantly if I was living in Japan, Because yes, it's adorable. I don't have to see the sun if I'm with you. I am now stuck with 3 years of nonstop rain because of that choice. So like the whole ending part is like her deciding, like, instead of living for others, to live for herself. That's what the main character tries to tell her. Like, live for yourself, don't die for others. And she's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna live. I'm gonna do what I want to do from now on. That sounds great and dandy. And so 3 years later,
bro.
my
You're a
house is
hater.
now 10 feet underwater because it's been raining for 3 years. It did not stop raining. Weather was out of control because she messed up it in the first place, and she gonna fix it. That's a good ending. Just no responsibilities. That was
No.
That's the message.
Let's also be Let's also be clear. This was also Tokyo like reforming back to what Tokyo's original state. That was also a point that was made clear. All this rain, Tokyo was originally a port. So it drowning was back to its original point.
I think they were just trying to make you feel good.
Hey. Oh, that's crazy. You're a hater. I expect better from you.
Nah.
I expect better, bro.
Nah,
Okay, whatever. Give the ending. Just get ending first. We can move on.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I'm just saying, bro. If I'm a freaking normal guy, I'm pissed off with 3 years of rain, telling me I can't get a tan, telling me I have to freaking be a fisherman now. I'm gonna give it a 3. It was average. Like,
that's crazy.
Bro. It's bro. Consequences. Actions have consequences, and they said, "Screw all that. I'm in love." That's all I'm saying, bro. Yeah.
I like rain.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Yeah. Sure. But yeah. So off to that music. You didn't say what your music number was though.
5 out of 5. I think it's better than. It's arguably better than your name.
I'm also gonna give
song,
it. No, the song's what?
Like the song just like fit every scene. Like the celebration as he's like breaking free and convinces her to like, hey, just save yourself. We will do this together. Is there anything love that gets to do, and we'll be all right. And Grand Escape, that set of music is elite, and it's just 5 out of 5.
Okay. I don't have much to say because I can barely remember it. I heard one song didn't hit as hard as any of the Your Name songs, so I'm gonna give it a 3. I think it was average. It's if it didn't stick with me the way Your Name did, and I haven't seen Your Name in damn near like 8 years, and I can't give it a 5 out of 5. It needs to stick with me. There has to be that one song that sticks. Then again, I to be fair, maybe I'll give it a rewatch at some point, and then maybe by next time we record for the third trilogy, I'll be like, you know what, I was a little bit wrong.
We're watching this at some point this weekend. You pissed me off.
I ain't watching no movie with you, right, bro? I've seen these movies. They didn't stick with me.
Obviously not.
But
Impact.
I'm not the only one that thinks that, because guess what? In the Impact level, it's also a 3 for me. Because sadly, it had the sad thing of being the sequel of one of the best Japanese movies to date, which was Your Name. It was a great movie. Critics agree with me that it was a phenomenal movie, but because it was the successor of Your Name, it did not have as much of an impact when it had come out. I'll be real. I don't think it's I don't know. I can't say if it's the weakest, but it did not have the impact that Your Name did, and that's why I have to give it. I still give it a 3 because it was average. I didn't really.
Parting?
Yeah.
Weakest of what?
It just
Of the tree? You're bugging. No. Weather with You is closer to Your Name than it is to Suzume. You're bugging.
I'm guilty. Yeah, I don't know. How was your impact?
3 out of 5. But it has nothing to do. It's just like there's nothing. Like, of course, it still has to have some sort of impact and success for it to get the third movie installment of the Disaster Trio, of course. But there was nothing that like really completely like stood within the like time. Like there's there's nothing major that like stood out and that's like still here today. Like you look at Your Name, those stairs, this, that, or the other.
Yep.
Suzume, there's something about Suzume that had a greater impact, which we'll get there. But like impact, yeah, like its movie on its own was elite. The impact didn't really reach out to as much as it really did as the other three, but still, this is like the biggest knock for me I have for it.
Okay, all right. Well, you'll see our totals probably right here because I did not do the math. I don't know if Omar did, but the totals will be here like they were last
You
time.
pissed me off. I lost it. You pissed me off.
That's completely fine. Everybody has their own opinions. If you guys have seen Weathering with You, or if you want to go see Weathering with You, I think it is on HBO Max. Might be on HBO Max. If I'm wrong, there's gonna be a little letters here that say that I'm a liar. But if not, it's on HBO Max.
Finally, before we close out the bonus question, Andy, I feel like you're gonna disappoint me anymore. Did you cry? That's sentimental the first time you watched it.
I do not remember crying for this movie, but I will. I might have to say no. I don't think I did. I don't. Yeah.
That's fair. I got emotional for this movie. Like this ending was great. Like it hit.
Okay.
Your Name, and it had Weathering with You had the same impact on me as Your Name did.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have rain and be with you than sunshine. Damn the blue sky.
All right.
We will see you guys next time.
Peace.